Great, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon for the Collegebound Scholarship Updates webinar. My name is Sarah Weiss. Weiss is nice. Hopefully you'll remember our time together as a nice time going through the Collegebound Scholarship program. I'm the Director of College Access Initiatives at the Washington Student Achievement Council, and it's so exciting to see so many of you joining us here today. I'm joined by Sue Johnson and Tracy Yaska from the Washington College Access Network, who will be introducing themselves and presenting later on, as well as Rochelle Wise, Mallory Bird, and Christina Winstead from the Student Achievement Council as well. We also have Dixie Grunenfelder here from OSPI, should any OSPI questions come up. So again, thank you so much for joining us today. We're so excited to see all of the interest in learning more about the Collegebound Scholarship program updates. A few Zoom etiquette items. As we mentioned earlier, we are recording this. Please mute yourself and keep yourself muted so we can make sure everybody can hear the content we're going to be sharing. If you don't want yourself to be in the recording, note that you can probably turn your camera off if you'd like to do that, but you're free to keep it on as well. If you need technical Zoom assistance throughout the presentation or the time together this afternoon, Christina Winstead, direct message her, she will help you out. We're going to answer questions about the presentation at the end of the presentation. There'll be time for questions. We'll walk through those verbally. You can put them in the chat at the end, and Rochelle Wise on our team will be asking those out to those of us presenting. We'll try to get to all of them in our time together. I promise we'll do our best to make sure we get all those questions answered. But as we said, there will be a recording, and we will be working on an answer document to the questions as well so that we can post that. So all the questions that we get today can be put into a kind of an FAQ that will be posted with the deck that we'll be using and the recording after the webinar. You can always follow up to reach out to us individually. We'll talk more about how to do that if you need additional assistance afterwards. And again, a reminder, just please keep yourself muted so that we can get through all this and everyone can hear. So everyone good to go? Ready? I'm going to assume I remember what it's like to be in a big room with lots of people and see a bunch of thumbs up. So here we go. So key takeaways today, what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about the Collegebound Scholarship auto enrollment, what it is and what it isn't, as well as an overview of CBS in general, very briefly. We'll talk about resources for support from the Washington Student Achievement Council, as well as from the Washington College Access Network and others. And then we're going to talk a little bit throughout the presentation about next steps for everybody. That includes us at Bossack and those of you working with students and kind of what those next steps are. So that's what we hope to take away from the time together this afternoon. So briefly, this past session, ESS Bill 5321, sponsored by Senator Nobles from the 28th Legislative District, was an act relating to the Collegebound Scholarship. This act essentially is what creates the auto enrollment for students in Collegebound. No more signing up public school students and things like that. We'll talk more about that specifically. It was effective immediately. It had a retroactive clause to the 2019-20 school year. And so we are working with OSPI to capture those eligible students from the past as well. This also related, many of you may remember the governor's proclamation from December of 2020 that suspended temporarily the requirement for signatures. We had most of those students already from that retroactive clause because of the proclamation. And so this bill is life-changing for so many students. We're so excited to begin to be working with you all on the implementation of it. I wanted to spend a moment just talking about a reminder about what the Collegebound Scholarship is. Collegebound is a commitment to students. It's a commitment that will combine with other aid, mostly the Washington College Grant, to ensure that these specific costs are covered by state aid for students. Tuition at public rates, some fees, and a small book allowance. CBS can be used at over 65 public, private colleges and universities, 2-year, 4-year, public, private, career technical schools. So many options for our Collegebound students to use their funding. So again, it combines with other aid, again, mostly Washington College Grant, to cover those fees for students, and those tuition fees and the book allowance. Collegebound is still a two-step process. Enrolling and receiving in Collegebound is kind of bookends. Public schools, step one, public school students eligible for free and reduced price lunch in 7th, 8th, or who are newly eligible in 9th grade will automatically be enrolled through a partnership with Bossack and OSPI. This is based on district reporting. Foster youth are automatically enrolled from grade 7 through high school graduation through a partnership between Bossack and the Department of Children, Youth, and Families. Step 2 for students is that they must still meet the CBS pledge requirements. So they must graduate from Washington High School with a 2.0 or better or homeschool program, no felony convictions, and they must be income eligible when applying to college. This is determined by their financial aid application that they'll need to complete every year starting in 12th grade. Students must also enroll in college within 1 year of graduating high school. They have 5 years from graduating high school to use 4 years worth of scholarship. So they can defer that first year if they want. A bachelor's degree is the highest degree a student can earn with Collegebound scholarship. So now I know the big question everybody's here to see, right? Except for Sarah Weiss is nice telling some jokes maybe. I don't know, we can see if we have time for that. But the big question is, how does the auto enrollment process work? And what does it really mean? So it means that the focus is on public school students with an OSPI data exchange and access to eligibility data. So students who are eligible for free and reduced price lunch at public schools will be automatically enrolled without having to sign up for the program. They can opt out if they wish, but if you're working with students at a private school or in a homeschool program, please have them contact our office. There are many ways a student can be noted as free and reduced price eligible. More on that in the next slide. But one is obviously the free and reduced price lunch application, right? So if students apply for free and reduced price lunch or eligible for that using the application, then they would be captured in this auto enrollment process with OSPI. If a school or district doesn't do free and reduced price lunch applications, this could be because they don't participate in the National School Lunch Program, or they don't, or they're in the Community Eligibility Program or CEP. Districts have to report data via the Family Income Survey to OSPI. And so this is kind of a proxy for determining who is eligible for free and reduced price lunch. There's also a process at every district called direct certification that feeds in data from many other sources of program eligibility, such as SNAP or TANF. We're gonna, again, show more in a little bit about what that means. Data is not available for an academic year until later in the fall. School districts report data monthly to OSPI, I believe starting in October. We are working with OSPI to hopefully begin receiving data in November, and then we'll receive newly eligible students monthly. So you're not going to see current students in your Bossack portal quite yet. You'll start seeing them in November. As I said, we've already received the retroactive files for the bill. So for students from the past couple of years who were eligible for the program. How do students know about Collegebound? We mail them certificates to students and families, but we don't automatically get their contact information through the auto enrollment process. OSPI does not have access to that information. So we need all of your help, and I know so many of you have been doing this already, but we need your help in updating addresses for students in the portal so that we can get those certificates out to them. We start sending them around the first of the month, so perhaps you can get on a monthly schedule of updating addresses to keep up with that certificate so that we can make sure to get all the students, let all the students know that they have this amazing opportunity in front of them. So this graphic comes from OSPI. This is an illustration of the free and reduced price lunch data sources, as I mentioned on the previous slide. I'm not going to walk through every single one of them, but this is really meant to show you that there are numerous sources of collecting student eligibility for free and reduced price lunch. They'll be used for Collegebound auto enrollment. And so essentially, if a student is eligible, and eligible, as I mentioned, has many definitions: free and reduced price lunch application or family income survey, direct certification, SNAP or TANF, foster youth, migrant students. There are all of these ways that students can be noted as eligible for free and reduced price lunch. That is what kicks them into eligibility for the College-Bound Scholarship auto enrollment process that we'll work through with OSPI. And again, this deck will be available after the presentation, so you can have access to this graphic as much as you want. All right, so a bit more on timeline. I know that many of you have been updating addresses already in the Bossack portal, working with colleagues Rochelle and Mallory to do that, and we're so grateful for that. Thank you so much. We do have students still in there without contact information now from last year's polls, and so if you're able to get in there, we have resources to help you understand. If you've never done it, there's an upload where you can upload addresses for students. You don't have to do it individually if you don't want to. So you can update student contact information now for students who are still missing addresses. As I mentioned, we anticipate having the New Year's file in November, so you can start uploading those addresses then for this current school year. We'll be sure to let you know exactly when the new file is in there through the College-Bound Scholarship listserv that I know many of you subscribe to. If you don't subscribe to the listserv, let us know at collegebound@wassac.wa.gov. It's a great resource. We send out lots of good information through that, but we'll definitely let you know. And again, monthly after November, we will receive newly eligible students on a monthly basis. So there is a new toolbox as of a few months ago. I'm sure many of you have noticed that. That allows for some new filtering options and different views. Note that some of the screens still may look like the old toolbox. We're still in the process of updating the whole toolbox. And so if you see an old looking screen, like it looks like the old version of the toolbox, don't worry, you're still in the right spot. It's just not one that's been updated quite yet. Uploads will only update addresses. It will not create new records. If after all the uploads, especially the initial one in November, because that's going to have all of the eligible students at the start of this year, you still have a student or family you feel is eligible and is not on your college-bound list, this likely means that they are not in the free and reduced price lunch eligible pool. We encourage them to sign up for free and reduced price lunch, as that is the first step if they are eligible. Students can opt out when we send the certificate to them. They can opt out of the program, so they may disappear from your list. If you're a nonprofit organization or a college access provider here, note that they can also opt out of sharing their information with nonprofits too. And so they may disappear. They might not show up on all lists. Again, we need your help with addresses. Thank you so much again. That's my plug today. One of them is to really thank you for helping with the addresses and continuing to do that. Check and use your list for outreach often. My colleagues with the Washington College Access Network are going to talk about some of the new things that can happen and spend some time on with students. And so using that college-bound scholarship list as a tool of who your students are, using it and looking at it frequently can be really valuable. Some things I wanted to share that Bossack will be doing so you would know, and that so you know, and maybe your own efforts could complement them and vice versa. We will be doing, as I said, still doing the monthly certificate mailings for students we have addresses for. We also plan to implement new grade level mailings to college-bound students with key information that they need to know at that point in their high school career. So look for that. That will start likely in the spring, going directly to students we have addresses for. We're also texting with juniors and seniors right now that are college-bound students that we have phone numbers for, which is about 17 or 18,000 for each class. With Otterbot, our college going and support with to help with support with financial aid questions. Otterbot is our artificial intelligence texting platform, or chatbot, if you will, that helps students through the financial aid question with financial aid questions. We've added a lot more college going knowledge this year as well. And so currently we're texting juniors and seniors college-bound students. Just a note I wanted to share that in the past, students, we've had Otterbot for a couple of years now. And students who've texted with Otterbot tend to have higher financial aid completion rates than those who did not. So we're seeing some exciting data and some stats coming out of use of Otterbot that we're going to be diving into a little bit more deeply soon. But those are some things that Bossack is going to be doing to support college-bound students over the next year. And now I'm going to turn it over to my colleagues, Tracy and Sue with the Washington College Access Network.
Thank you, Sarah. Hi, everybody. Good afternoon. Buenas tardes. My name is Tracy Gasca, and I'm the Collegebound Regional Officer for the Northwest region. And then my colleague, Sue, will go ahead and introduce herself in the following slides. So we are part of the Washington College Access Network, which is powered by the College Success Foundation. And some of the resources that we provide around Collegebound are some of these that are listed on this slide. So we have College Knowledge Workbook, which is great information that you can find. It has 6 different chapters that you can really cater to any of your students in grades 9 through 12. That really starts with information geared towards anywhere from timeline activities to do during the school year that can help them, learn about what classes are they taking in high school, how does that transfer over if they want to go to a 4-year or a 2-year. It really helps them really create that college exploration tool. We also offer college maps, and it's really cool because you can find it based on your region or county, and it also includes some of the resources we have, such as Trio or some of the food pantries or other cool things like that. If you click on it, it'll just send you over to that college's website. And then most importantly, because of the auto enrollment that we now have, which I think is amazing, we are here to support you with your Collegebound repledge. So on our website, we also have resources. So you could do this on your own, or you could also loop us in and we can go and help you put on these events or kind of guide you through how you can implement these events if you haven't done it in the past. We have a really cool resource, which is our Collegebound repledge booklet. And now it's the link itself is auto-filled, so you can go ahead and click on it, and then every new link lets you fill it in online. So if you still have students who are doing remote things, this is still an activity you can do online, or we can also work with you to get these booklets to you physically. It's really amazing as well because it'll also kind of go through the Collegebound scholarship. What is it? How do you get it? And especially now, since we have a lot of students who were part of the auto enrollment this past almost 2 school years. These are really good activities for them to kind of learn, oh, this is what the scholarship is. What do I have to do? When do I get it? What does it help pay for? And then obviously with your seniors who are Collegebound, we're here to help you with your financial aid resources. And once Sarah sends these links out for you, all of these blue links are clickable for you. So you'll be able to find those resources there. You can move on to the next slide, please. So some of you may be wondering, well, now that we don't do signups and now that it's auto enrollment, what are we supposed to do to continue engaging our Collegebound students? So it's really important how Sarah mentioned that you still have to have access to your portal to be able to upload any missing addresses that you might have. It's also a really great way for you to familiarize yourself with your Collegebound students. So some of the things that we think you should refocus your time and energy on are really collaborating with your Collegebound families and doing any kind of outreach events to help them gain college access education. So this could be for your staff. This could just be events for your students and your families. This is where those repledge events come in. We really want to help encourage you and help support you to make sure that these students have access to the information of what Collegebound is. We obviously still have FAFSA and WASFA trainings and financial aid completion events that we can support you with. At the state level, a lot of you who are working with high school students, there's ways that you can incorporate the high school and beyond plan with helping them learn about Collegebound scholarship, and then as well as really just providing more resources for them on what types of careers or colleges are in their area or across the state. And so again, We're here to help you support with any college-bound or financial aid events that you want. And we can also kind of help you find any other resources on things like High School and Beyond Plan that I know Bossack has on their website. And Sue, if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, and Sarah, if you could go ahead and move to the next slide.
Hello, everyone. I'm Sue Johnson, and I am the Collegebound Scholarship Officer from the North Central region of Washington. Hi to all my people in my region. I'm here to let you know some ways to partner with us to assist with your career and college going strategies. This list, this lineup of boxes are some of the ways that we have assisted folks in the past. But this is not a limited list. We are open to helping design and facilitate any project that you that will further your goals. So we in the past have collaborated on financial aid events by assisting families and students as they navigate the filing processes for financial aid, scholarship, college, and other program applications, as well as award letter support. And providing staff training opportunities, because it can be very helpful to build teams in your school or organization. By including other staff in trainings about topics such as college-bound scholarship, the financial aid processes, and other statewide programs and financial aid opportunities. Some ways we can help support students and families with financial aid filing support are to provide opportunities for group or one-on-one support, either virtually, by phone, or in person when appropriate. And creating ways to increase college going and career training expectations to help connect schools, organizations, and businesses to show students the many opportunities that are available to them. So expanding and just letting students and staff know everything that's available in their city, region, state. Also, we help counselors by providing tech support and assistance in partnership with Bossack to help manage the data processes and systems that are required of schools, which includes the task of uploading student addresses into the portal so students can receive their college-bound certificate in the mail. Next slide, please. Okay, so there are 9 regions that WACAN serves and has broken the state into, and 9 of us regional representatives. Our website shows your region's support person and their contact information. Our team does have some new regional representatives, so be sure to go to wacan.org to check out who is ready to assist you in increasing opportunities for your students. So hopefully, you can go there and there's pictures of who you'll be working with, and we are just eager and anxious to help support you, your students, your families, your organization. So give us a shout out. Sarah?
Great, thanks so much, Tracy and Sue. Love hearing about all the things that the WACAN can do to support our students and families and counselors throughout the state. Love partnering with you both, and then all of the other regional officers. So thanks so much for sharing.
Thank you for having us here.
Thanks so much. So moving right along, I wanted to share some additional resources that are available on the collegebound.wa.gov website. We have several new items. We have an updated middle school intro flyer that can be found and available in 11 languages. We're right now finalizing a brochure that is designed for high school students, and that can be ordered for free. I'm going to want to highlight all of our resources, both with WACAN and Bossack. They're all free for you, so you don't have to pay for them at all. We also have a free high school intro flyer that's on the website in English and Spanish. And then we also have CBS Collegebound swag items, pens, brochures, stickers, and other materials. The order form will go live soon once that brochure is complete, we hope within the next week or two. And we will let you know when that happens via the listserv. Please recycle old materials, as obviously there's a lot of changes with Collegebound, so they're no longer accurate. This is a screenshot. Our website may look different to you, but you can get there using the same link you always have, collegebound.wa.gov. You may notice that other WASAC pages are also transitioning away from Ready, Set, Grad. That page is being sunsetted, and all pages will ultimately live on wasac.wa.gov moving forward. A reminder, just use the collegebound.wa.gov link and it will get you to the right spot. For those of you working with juniors and seniors, WASAC has what's called our 12th year campaign, which is led by Christina Winstead. And there are free materials, resources, and trainings available as well, specifically around the admissions and financial aid application process. There's also a section of the WASAC portal for all seniors and FAFSA status. If you're interested in gaining access to that, just let us know at FAFSA@wasac.wa.gov, and we can get you an account to the portal for FAFSA status. And so you can get a sense of all your seniors, and it will also note who's in Collegebound on that as well. Something that the 12th year campaign is doing this year again is hosting 5 free virtual financial aid filing events this fall. If your school is interested in partnering with us, let Christina know. Max attendance at each event is 500 and it's on a first come, first served basis to support students. If you've attended any of the AIM Hire trainings or the CSF, walk-in trainings or 12th year campaign trainings, any financial aid training, and are able and willing to assist with any role at a financial aid event, we'd love to have you. We're always looking for volunteers. This is a great way to support your students so they know, see a friendly face, a familiar face when they sign into one of those events. Another resource, I mentioned this earlier, but wanted to just give a specific slide to it, Otterbot. Otterbot, as I said, is our free artificial intelligence texting service that can help seniors with financial aid support. We are texting juniors and seniors from Collegebound right now, but if you have other students you feel might benefit from it, they can always text Hi Otter to the number on the screen. And then help us spread the word about Otterbot. There's a flyer and we really want on the website listed there, and we really want students to know it's a resource for them if they have questions. So if you have more questions that weren't answered today, if we're not able to get to all of them, or you come up with something new after working through something later in the year or whenever, we have Bossack Wednesdays. We'll hope you join us for those. These happen the first Wednesday of every month from 10 to 11. You can register for the series on the website there. There's drop-in question time. There is no planned presentation. There's no schedule to it. You just drop in at any point. You ask your questions. You've got Collegebound reps there, 12th year campaign, financial aid expert with Christina and Otterbot. So we are there to answer any of your questions that you have. You can drop in for the whole hour and talk to us, or just a couple minutes, depending on what your question is. And finally, the WASAC Collegebound team, contact us with any questions you may have. We're a small but mighty team, happy and excited to look forward to talking with you all. Email, phone, even though we are still working remotely right now at WASAC and a lot of state agencies, we do have access to the phone, to the live phone to call, and then our website, collegebound.wa.gov. I just want to say before we break for questions, I want to note that we have over 300 people on this Zoom webinar today. I'm so thrilled to see so much excitement and interest in learning more about Collegebound. So thank you for joining us. I also want to thank again Senator Nobles for spearheading and being the prime sponsor of this bill. It is such a good opportunity for so many students to help them out. So grateful for your leadership in supporting the bill. And again, everyone who works with Collegebound students every day, we really appreciate all the work and support and commitment you have to your students. So I think with that, we are ready to go with questions. As we'd said, we were going to put those in the chat, and Rochelle and Mallory are going to help us facilitate those. Michelle, are you able to join us?
Michelle is muted.
Sorry, I was muted. I'm sitting there talking. One or the other.
I couldn't
Either
see
unmute
you,
when I
sorry.
shouldn't or I mute when I shouldn't. One or the other. Let's try this again. So hello, everyone. I'm so glad you joined us today. We've had some questions throughout your presentation, Sarah, so we're going to start with those. As
Okay.
we get more, we'll go through those as they come.
Great.
So let me pull up my document. So the first one is, for students who take classes through Running Start, are they still eligible for the scholarship for the same 5-year period?
Yeah, and so the enrollment that you might hear it referred to as an enrollment deadline, in that students have to enroll in college within 1 year of high school graduation. So taking a Running Start class that kicks off, like that says they're good to, like they met the enrollment deadline, but it doesn't start counting the clock down towards how many years of scholarship they have. So they would still have up to 4 years of scholarship left after high school graduation.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. The next question, if a foster student is adopted at age 14, are they still eligible for Collegebound even if the adopted family's income does not qualify?
That's a great question. Christina, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe they just 13 on the FAFSA, right?
Sorry, I was also unmuting. So if they're over the age of 13 and they're in foster care, then they'd be independent for financial aid purposes. But if they've been adopted, then they would be potentially a dependent student for financial aid purposes. So if they were legally adopted, then they would want the parents' information if they're considered dependent.
But if they were adopted after the age, at 14.
At 14, so yes, after the age of 13, so they may have some services provided to them, but if they're legally adopted, when they fill out the financial aid application, they will still want to consider the adoptive parents if they're legally adopted anytime after the age of 13, but they may receive some additional services because they were in foster care after the age of 13. It's just that they're no longer in foster care.
Christina, I want to make sure we're understanding the question correctly, though. So the student is adopted at 14. They were they were a foster student at 13. They could still, they would have to file as dependent student.
Potentially, they could be a dependent student. Yes.
Okay.
It just depends on their situation and if they were legally. Because sometimes we're like, oh, I was legally adopted, but it's not actually legal. So it's really, and for students with situations like this, like for financial aid completion, this is why we have those events, because we want to see these students. There is misconceptions about completing applications for students who are dependent versus independent and challenges. And we have a lot of supports to help you with that, and including financial aid officers who will walk your students through those applications. So when in doubt, always send them to our events to get that extra support from a financial aid officer.
Cool. Thanks, Christina.
Thank you both. All right, what is the deadline for updating addresses from 2021?
So there's not really a deadline. We do monthly polls of anyone who has a new address, and so we'll send it as soon as we have it. So the sooner the better for sure, but we're not going to not send a certificate because we got an address, honestly, in their freshman or sophomore year. We would send it to them. So the sooner the better we get addresses, but there's not a deadline for it, as we'll do them monthly.
All right, the next one, we've gotten several questions about this, Sarah, just in different formats.
Okay.
What if our school is giving free lunches to all students this year? Can you address any ideas you have to help middle school counselors encourage the return of the free and reduced lunch applications when lunch is already free?
Yeah, absolutely. And so I know that the Child Nutrition Services folks over at OSPI are working with school lunch folks in districts to encourage free and reduced price lunch applications, regardless of if a district is doing free lunch for everybody, because they still have to report income eligibility to OSPI. Even if they're giving free lunch to everybody. And so I think, some strategies could be that it's not just about free lunch anymore. It's about, or access to meals. It's about accessing other opportunities. There was some additional pandemic EBT, debit card funding that was available to students who were free and reduced price lunch eligible last year. That may continue, I'm not sure, but it kind of gets those students who are eligible for a lot of different services in the pipeline for access to resources. And so kind of talking about it in that way can be helpful. I know on OSPI's Child Nutrition's website, if you just Google like OSPI CNS, they have some graphics and infographics and templates that you can pull out that you can use with students to encourage the application process as well. And then the other piece I want to reiterate too, back to that that graph or the infographic that had all of the ways that students can get noted as eligible for free and reduced price lunch. The application is only one component of that. There are other pieces, direct certification through partnerships that OSPI has access to with Department of Children, Youth, and Families for SNAP and TANF benefits, migrant foster care, auto enrollment, so things like that. So it's only one small piece of that. Students may get captured because of their eligibility and other services as well.
Thank you. All right. Kind of on that note, has there been conversation with food service at OSPI to put the checkbox for sharing information on the form?
That I don't know. I can ask though. So checkbox on the form for sharing information. Okay. So we'll definitely put that on our document that we'll update, and we'll get an answer and then can follow up with that as well.
Okay, the next question. Are siblings automatically signed up? I have twins in my school and only one shows up on the CB roster.
Interesting. I would definitely encourage you to reach out to us about that specific student situation. It could be that we don't have enrollment information for that student, the right school assigned, but I would want to, I mean, I would think they would both be signed up through the process. And so let's look at that student and situation individually if you want to reach out to us at the Collegebound email address, and we can do a little bit deeper digging.
If we need access to the CBS and FAFSA portals, how do we get that?
That's a fantastic question. Pretty easy. The first step for Collegebound is if you email the and you can email both to Collegebound if it's easier. I used to say we work about 10 feet apart. I can't say that anymore. Virtually, we work very close together though. But you can email the Collegebound at wassac.wa.gov address and ask for what you're looking for. Because of the way the portals are structured and the data flows for Collegebound, we can give you access to your school. For FAFSA, a data sharing agreement will need to be in place with your district. And so we can let you know if your district already has a data sharing agreement, and if you need a form to complete that will give you a portal account. So you can email Collegebound at wassac.wa.gov with that request. You can also email FAFSA at wassac.wa.gov. You can email either of those addresses and we'll help you out with both of them.
Okay. How can I assist students with missing addresses?
Yeah, I think if do you think, Rochelle, I mean, like if they don't have their address, was there any if they don't have the access to the address, was there any clarifying info on that?
I think I have to, let me go back to the question. I'm trying to.
I can clarify if you'd like me to, Rochelle.
Okay, yeah, I
Great,
found
thanks,
it, but
Mallory.
go ahead, Mallory. Yeah.
Sorry, the question coming in is how, I guess to sum it up, is what is the best way to get those addresses? The question was more like, how do we contact them to get us their addresses? So loop back to uploading them in the portal, basically. So if you could touch back on that.
Yeah. So I think I'll kind of talk about a couple things. I think, utilizing the flyer, the middle school intro flyer that we have, the high school intro flyer that outline what Collegebound is. If you're wanting to give information to then get an address from the student to update into the portal. And then if you have like your full list from your school's student information system, that can be uploaded into the WASAC portal. It's portal.wasac.wa.gov. And if you have a portal account, it's through the toolbox in there. And there's resources in the portal on how to do that.
and I think, Sarah, if you don't mind me adding,
Please.
if you don't have your free and reduced lunch list, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, Sarah, if this is okay, they can just upload all of their students. It won't create new applications. It will just update those that are in the system.
Correct.
Okay, next question. Is Otterbot available in other languages?
The answer is yes and no. So students can ask questions and get answers in other, like over 100 languages. All they have to do is write #language to Otterbot. But then the messages that we manually send out to students, so when we send out reminders or information to us or out to students from us, that is only in English right now. So if the student has their own question or wants to access the AI component of it, they can get that in over 100 languages. But currently the messages, the reminders, the updates that we send out on like a weekly basis, those are only in English right now.
Okay, can you say more about the funding for books through Collegebound?
Yeah, and so the way that the Collegebound amount works, so how the amount of like what the commitment, how it's determined is based off of tuition and fees assessments at those 65 plus colleges. And so it's tuition at the public rates plus the service and activity fee, the required fee, I believe is how it's referred to in the RCW. Plus $500. And so students can use that $500 for books and supplies. It's not something that like they have to specifically use at the campus bookstore, but it's basically tuition, some fees plus $500 that is intended to help support books and supplies.
Thank you. Okay. Now I lost where I was. Okay, were current 9th graders eligible for the auto enrollment?
Current 9th graders is class of 2025, right? 2025, 22, 23, 24, 5. Yes. So 2025, they were, as they were enrolled last year as 8th graders, yes.
Okay. And can non-college bound seniors also access Otterbot?
Yes, they would just need to text into Otterbot and know that there might be some messages that are specific to Collegebound, but the majority are relevant to everybody. And we typically only send the Collegebound student questions to students we know are Collegebound based on the data that we have from working with students. But yeah, any senior educators can access it as well if you have questions. It'll ask you like a prompt at the beginning to kind of get a sense of who you are. And so yeah, other students can access it as well.
Thank you. All right. CBS is a scholarship of last resort, meaning they have to first try to find other funding first. Is this correct?
I would say that I wouldn't call it a scholarship of last resort in that sense, because Collegebound is really that commitment that those costs will be covered. And so the term scholarship can be a little bit wonky in how it relates to like other scholarships and how other scholarships function. It doesn't function in the same way. The majority of that commitment, that the tuition, some fees plus $500 for books and supplies, that will be covered by state aid. That's the Collegebound scholarship commitment. The majority of that funding usually actually comes from the Washington College Grant bucket, plus a little bit of Collegebound. Now, students might also then be eligible for the Pell Grant, which is the federal grant program, which can be added on top of the Collegebound scholarship dollars. And so I wouldn't say it's a scholarship of last, was it resort? Is that what it said? In that, yeah, in that it will, if a student is eligible, does the pledge require, is enrolled as a middle school student, meets the pledge requirements, is income eligible, their commitment is that those costs will be covered by state aid, and then they can start to add on other aid that they may have access to.
Okay, this is kind of going back to the free and reduced lunch. How do I get a student registered for Collegebound if a parent will not fill out a free and reduced lunch form, but they are low income? Is the online application gone?
Yes, the online application as it used to live is gone because we're working with OSPI to auto-enroll those students. If you do have a student or family, though, in that situation and they would be willing to apply for Collegebound, they would need to contact us and we would walk them through the process and get them squared. I mean, we can sign them up on the back end, but they would still need to do the appropriate paperwork. So really the best, talking through, sorry, Rachel, the best really way to talk with that student is the easiest way with the least amount of paperwork is signing up for a free and reduced price lunch.
Okay. Did the auto enroll program give parents any form of communication regarding their eligibility? This question comes from having lots of parents and students not knowing that they have Collegebound. And there's a part 2 to that question. Do you want me to read that right now?
Let me answer that. Let me talk about that part first. So with this certificate, we are sending a letter that explains why they're getting this certificate and that they can opt out to either the program or to the nonprofit releasing information to nonprofits. So we do send a letter that kind of explains why they're getting the Collegebound scholarship certificate.
But that's why we need their help with uploading addresses.
Exactly. Thank you, Rochelle.
We don't automatically get those addresses when they are auto-enrolled. So that's why we need your help entering those addresses so we can make sure they get those communications from us.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Rochelle.
Mm-hmm. And the second part said, many of these students and parents who were not aware they were signed up for Collegebound are also not listed as being free and reduced price lunch eligible. How are they eligible if they are not free and reduced price lunch eligible?
I'm going to make an assumption here that that person is looking at like a list for current like 9th and 10th graders maybe. And I think that's because there's some crossover between the like 9th and 10th graders because they were captured in auto enrollments, but they also back in the day when they were in middle school, like early middle school, you all at district level, school level folks could upload lists of students. And while our guidance was always upload your free and reduced price lunch eligible students, we do know that other students were uploaded sometimes. And so my guess is that specific situation is kind of in that crossover where the bill and the governor's proclamation allowed us to complete those applications because we were relying on the information we had, which is that those students were income eligible at the time, but there may be situations where they weren't, and that's where that income check at high school graduation with the FAFSA or the WASFA will be the final income check before they go on to complete and receive funding in college. But that shouldn't be a problem moving forward now that we're not kind of in the in-between lands anymore.
Okay, Sarah, we had someone that accidentally got bumped off during one of your answers, so they asked this again. So if you could repeat, please.
Sure.
With free meals for all students this year, how are other schools motivating families to get the application completed? Our district still only has a paper application, which is proving to be very challenging.
Yeah, and so, what I said earlier was that talking with students and families about the fact that there are other benefits associated with free and reduced price lunch. Collegebound scholarship eligibility is one of them. There may be additional pandemic benefits that are still available to students, but that districts and schools still have to report income eligibility to OSPI. And so if that's with the free and reduced price lunch application, it could be with the direct certification application, but the direct certification process. I also mentioned that on the Child Nutrition Services website at OSPI, they have some really great flyers in multiple languages that talk about the benefit of applying for free and reduced price lunch for eligible students. So those could be some resources as well to look at.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. I have worked with students in different grades, 9th and 11th. The older students are not enrolled, but the 9th graders are. Will older students be auto-enrolled?
No, and so the auto enrollment, it went back to students who were in middle school in the 1920 school year. And so we got a couple of separate files throughout the summer to kind of catch us up to getting all those students. But I believe the furthest grade ahead that it got some students because of the 9th grade enrollment that was passed a couple of years ago was the current 10th graders.
Our district has historically uploaded free and reduced price lunch students 3 to 4 times per year. Should we still continue to upload them, or will you automatically pull from another data source?
Yeah, so we will get the initial information on who's eligible from OSPI, but please, please, please still upload your students so we can get their contact information and we can send them their certificates so that they know that they're college bound.
And I know, Sarah, just if I can touch on that, I know this
Please.
one mentions 3 to 4 times per year. Just to reiterate to everyone, we will get new students monthly. So if you could do it monthly, that would be great. We understand if you're busy and can't, but we will have new students missing information monthly. So
Starting in November of this year.
Starting in November, yes. Thank you, Sarah.
Tag teaming it.
Can parents use Otterbot?
Yeah, the messages are very, that we send out are very, and that they'll receive are very student focused. So it may say your senior year or your financial aid application, but parents can use Otterbot. I believe on that intro script that I mentioned earlier, when they go to sign up, I believe it asks if they're a parent.
Can you remind us where to get posters and brochures?
Yeah, so on the Collegebound website, collegebound.wa.gov, there's a link on, I believe, right on the main page that says order your Collegebound. It's in the text, order your Collegebound materials. The link is not live yet. It should be within the next week or two. And so we will be sending out a listserv once that's ready. But Collegebound materials can be accessed via the Collegebound website. And then 12th year campaign materials can be accessed through the 12th year campaign website as well.
And Sarah, I'm going to answer this next one if that's okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so this person is saying that they made corrections to the bad addresses, but the address is correct based off of Skyward. Is there something else that needs to be done to get them off the bad address list? So I'm going to touch on a couple of things here. The first one is if you made the corrections before, I think it was last week, unfortunately, our system had a glitch in it. So they may still appear on your bad address list. They were not being removed. So if you did it before that date, you may want to go in and try again. Unfortunately, that means you do have to kind of just delete something in that address and re-enter it, even if it's the same thing, so that our system can recognize that there was a change. If you go in and you see them in the bad address file, and the address is the same as what you have in Skyward, it just could be something, for some reason, that mail came back to us as bad address. So just re-enter what you have. It will take it off the bad address list and we'll try again. Another thing is I had this occur with someone. Make sure that everything is in each of those columns. I had someone, I didn't even catch it, where the state was missing. So it just kept appearing in the bad address file, but it was because the state was missing. So just make sure that the street address or the PO box is in the mailing address column, that the city, state, and zip are in their corresponding columns. But if you continue to have issues, feel free to reach out to us at the Collegebound email, and we can certainly help you through that. But I know sometimes it's frustrating because it's the same address, but if you can just delete the zip code and re-enter it or something, our system will recognize it as a correction and it should fall off your list. Sarah, did you have anything to add to that?
I think you covered it.
Okay, thank you. So the next one is there a PDF we can send out to families from the school to give them a heads up that they will be getting communications from Collegebound and that it's not junk mail?
That's a great question. I know we used to have in the past a template that could go with the MIL. We could look at resurrecting that document and repurposing it a little bit. That's a great idea.
And I think this kind of falls under the same thing. Is there a letter which we can print and hand out to parents to make sure they know of their eligibility. So do you think that would be the same sort of thing, Sarah?
I think that would, for that, I think that would probably be the middle school intro flyer, and that's currently on the website in the 11 languages. I think the distinction is like the letter to expect a certificate, and the middle school intro flyer kind of addresses that too. But I think the former template that we used to have on the website could be repurposed for that other need.
Okay. Did the auto enrollment change the college-bound income eligibility? Because college-bound income eligibility has always been a little higher than the free and reduced price lunch.
No, it didn't change the eligibility. It's been the same. It's always been the reduced level, not the free level. So that could be what you are looking at. But it's the same. It's eligible for free and reduced lunch at the middle school enrollment level. When students apply for financial aid in the senior year of their of high school and then every year in college, income eligibility is based on median family income, which I believe is actually a little bit higher than the free and reduced price lunch eligibility. So it depends on which step you're looking at.
Right.
But nothing changed in that regard.
I tried to upload my 7th grade students, but it says the names were not recognized. What can I do?
Yeah, so 7th graders haven't yet been put in the system. That'll happen in November. And so, as I said, we're going to let everybody know once that file is uploaded from OSPI into the portal. So 7th graders, you'll have to wait on for now until November.
Do you still want us to notify you if students have moved to other districts or out of state?
Yeah, I think that's always helpful to know, right, Rochelle?
Well, in the past it was, but now that we're matching with OSPI data, we really can't change that data.
That's true.
So I think we kind of just have to wait until the school no longer reports them as enrolled or their new school reports their enrollment. Is that correct now?
Yeah, so what I would say is the best thing that can happen actually is to make sure that the right transfer code or the right withdrawal code is being reported to OSPI, whether that's the student transferring to another school, another district, or out of state, because that will eventually then get to us and then they'll show up or drop off, show in the right place. So that's probably the best way to do it, is make sure that the right withdrawal code is being reported in Cedars.
The Toolbox is giving me students with a missing SSID, but I don't have access to change that. Is that correct?
Michelle, do you want to take that one?
Do you want me to take that one? Yeah, yes, that is correct. So if you have a student with a missing SSID, you can email us. We honestly only need their name and birth date because typically we're getting that information from their OSPI auto enroll. Unfortunately, it doesn't communicate with our application system to put that into their application. We're working on that. So it should be doing that soon. But as of now, if you just want to reach out to us, and the first initial contact can just be, I have a student with a missing SSID, and then I'll communicate with you on how to get that to us and get that taken care of. If a student wasn't income eligible in middle school, but were given auto enrollment eligibility in error with the crossover that you mentioned, Sarah, about having, schools uploading them and then being completed, do we have the ability to correct this, or does their auto enroll eligibility continue throughout high school?
It would continue throughout high school. And then their income would be checked senior year when they go to college.
And Sarah, just as a side note, that was asked due to that HB 1660.
Yeah, right. I was assuming that. And that's shouldn't be happening in the future as we move forward with only relying on the data from OSPI versus schools, districts uploading their own data.
And I think on that note too, to note is, and I know this isn't super helpful for those people using that information for that data, is that they do have the option to opt out. So some students may fall off of that list. I don't know how they want to address that at the schools, but just a side note on that too.
Yeah.
We are uploading addresses for current 8th through 12th graders, but hold off on current 7th graders until November. Oh, so they're asking, should they hold off on uploading current 7th graders until November?
Yes, until you hear from us that the file from OSPI has been added in. And like we said, that should be in around mid-November, and we'll let you all know.
All right, we're actually getting through these pretty quick. I'm waiting on Mallory for the next one. She's currently typing.
Yeah, I can't see the chat. I just keep seeing the numbers go up. So I don't know where we are within it. So, because I'm sharing my screen.
While she's typing, I just want to clarify with the financial aid, just because I'm caffeineless right now. If you have a student that is legally adopted, they have to be legally, it can't be, I spent a whole morning of like the what ifs, like it could be a legal adoption, it's not, but if they are legally adopted after, even as long as they're after the age of 13, they're going to be independent in the FAFSA or WAFSA application. So it's just going to be their income. So unless that student maxes out the income level for Collegebound, which we know is not going to be the case, they will be eligible, but they do need to fill out that application. If they are under 13, or if it's not a legal adoption, which I find happens more frequently than you would expect, they will be providing, if they're adopted before 13, they will provide their adoptive parents' information. Again, it has to be a legal adoption. It can't be an informal agreement, which is what we find sometimes. So that's my clarification. And I'm putting in the chat the dependency status kind of check sheet for you guys to look at so that students can walk through to see what they're going to be.
Thank you.
Cool. Thanks, Christina.
Okay, I'm going to take this one, Sarah, if that's okay.
Sure.
It says that this person has students showing up twice in the portal, one with the correct information and one with the address missing. Will the system clear this up on its own, or should we inform you? Please let us know. Our system doesn't catch that sometimes, unfortunately. So if you can just email us to let us know that there's a student in there twice, then we can go ahead and clean it up. You know, we'll figure out which one's the one to keep and which one to get rid of. So that would be really helpful. Thank you. Or if you ever see anything wonky in the portal, let me just add, feel free to reach out to us at any time. We're happy to help. What fee waivers are Collegebound students eligible for?
I believe through the House Bill 1660, they're eligible for some of the extracurricular activities, fee waivers and things like that. Do you mean more like college application fee waivers? Is that more what you're talking about?
I'm not sure. Mallory, did they have more to their question?
Sorry, I couldn't find my cursor to unmute myself. No, that was the question. What fee waivers are they eligible for?
Got it. So I believe it's like ASB and extracurricular activity fees. But OSPI has a great website about 1660 that outlines specifically what fees they're eligible for as well. So Christina, would you be able to maybe find that link and put it in? I'll look at that.
I'm putting in the other fee waivers and I'll get the other ones in there. So
yeah,
they'll
great,
also
thanks.
be eligible for college admissions fee waivers and also the CSS profile fee waiver.
Sarah, if you don't mind, should we add that that's not through us, that's through
Yeah, right. So we're not waiving the fees. It's on a district by district and school by school process. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rochelle.
Yeah. Is there a deadline for current seniors to obtain eligibility?
Deadline for seniors to return. I mean, they need to apply for financial aid starting October 1st of their senior year is when the application, the FAFSA and the WASFA both open. And so usually as soon as possible is a recommendation. Every college has their own deadline, but because Collegebound is that commitment, it may be a little delayed if they wait till, when they get it, if they wait till close to the end of start of the new college school year. But there is not a specific deadline for Collegebound. It's going to all be based on the college's financial aid deadlines.
I'll take the next one again, Sarah, if that's okay.
Sure, go ahead.
It's another portal address one.
Okay.
So this person was saying that their portal shows complete next to all of the students, but when they click on the view button next to the student's name, it still shows bad address. Does this mean I need to click on every student? So complete status just means that they have a complete college-bound application, meaning in the past, it meant that the parent and student had both signed the form and returned it to our office before the deadline. Now it just means that they've been auto-enrolled. Complete doesn't necessarily mean that we have all of their information. So when you ask if you need to click on every student, not necessarily. So you can do that. You can click on each one to see if they have a bad address and update the address, but that is time consuming. There should be in the upper right-hand corner of your portal, of your toolbox, there is a bad addresses link, or when you pull up your list of students, one of the options you can click, like I don't remember what those are called. You can click on just the bat to sort just so you have bad addresses. That would be another way. And then you can just upload all of your free and reduced lunch students, and that should take care of them because those are the students that we're getting from OSPI. But if you need help with that, please feel free to reach out to us. And I don't know, Sarah, did you have anything to add to that?
No, great.
Okay, thanks. And I don't know, but I think that might be all the questions we have right now. Mallory's saying that's it. So I don't know if anybody has any other questions.
I just put a link in the chat for the free reduced lunch benefits that they have through OSPI, and that flyer comes in multiple languages. There's a toolkit. So if you go to that website, it's in all different languages talking about all the benefits that come from beyond a meal that come from signing up for free or reduced lunches.
Great. Thanks, Christina, for putting that in there. Appreciate it. I do have the chat open now. So Mallory, I see there's a couple more coming in if you want to maybe still throw them in the link so we have some time. Got about 20 minutes to cover them.
Here's one. If I'm brand new to working with Collegebound, do you have any recommendations for where I should start?
I do. The first is welcome. Thank you for working with Collegebound. That's very exciting. First one, honestly, I would go to that walkhan.org website that Sue and Tracy spoke about. Find your regional officer and connect with them. They are a fantastic resource that can help you get set up with all things Collegebound. And then you can also email the Collegebound at wasac.wa.gov email to get access to the portal. And then visit the Collegebound wa.gov website as well. But really a great starting place is with your regional officer. Sue, Tracy, I don't know if you have anything you want to add to that, but I see thumbs up, so I think that was a good answer, right? Great.
All right, the next question is it possible to get data about how many of the Collegebound scholars enrolled in college?
Yes, we will be working on a report that will show statewide at some point in the near future, enrollment information. There's a report that's on our website that is from a couple of years ago that showed that Collegebound students enrolled and on par with other statewide average, which is exciting to see. But if you're looking at wanting to know your specific district or school, please reach out to us at the Collegebound email address because we can work with you. We can work with you on a data request that we can get you that information for your specific district or school.
If a student drops out, do they need to pay Collegebound back?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's going to depend, I think, at what point they drop out and what the situation was. There may be a situation where they do have to pay Collegebound funding back. If the student has questions about the specific situation, I'd recommend talking to our repayment coordinator. Her name's Nisha. Her information and the repayment organizations that we work with are listed in the FAQ for seniors. but it's repayment at wasac.wa.gov to get the specific situation. And definitely the financial aid office at the college. That would actually be the first step I'd recommend. But there could be a situation where the student would need to pay not just Collegebound, but any financial aid back.
Collegebound follows the same satisfactory academic progress rules as all other types of aid. So yeah, unfortunately, that can be the case.
Is the OSPI building code the same as the code we give for WCAP? And then they put TIDE in parentheses.
I don't know that. What's WC? Can you give a little more clarification on what WCAP TIDE is?
And Mallory, do you want to give information on where they can find the OSPI building code?
Yeah, I can drop a link into the chat here in just a second with a really easy list and way to find that on the OSPI website if you're looking for the building code for your upload, because that is required. Schools are in alphabetical order, so you just have to search for the school on there and it'll give you the code. I'll put that in the chat.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's the same. Thank you, Christina, for telling me what it is. But I'm not sure if it's the same code, but we can look into that and put that on the questions document that we're going to repurpose and put out. And you can also feel free to reach out to us and ask the question specifically after we do some more research too.
Are there any other questions? Thank you, Mallory.
Thanks, Mallory. Not seeing any other questions, so we can give people 14 minutes back of their day, other than the new and exciting Collegebound updates. That's another gift for you, 14 minutes, right? And I just really want to say thank you so much for joining today. And yeah, really wanted to make sure there was enough time to answer all the questions that people had. And so really appreciate everybody who is working on supporting our Collegebound students around the state. Thanks so much.
I just want to say thank you to all of our counselors and to Sue and Tracy and all of our walk-hand officers, because I can't do it without all of you. So
Likewise.
I mean, there's so much teamwork. Like, I am constantly in contact with everybody. So I think it's amazing. And I mean, those counselors on the ground doing the work, and our walk-hand officers are our boots on the ground too. So I think it's amazing. So thank you all very much.
Yes, thank you for attending.
Cool. Thanks so much, everybody. And give us maybe a week and a half to get the recording and the questions document and the deck all up on the website. But it'll be on the collegebound.wa.gov website in the resources section.
And another thing I just want to reiterate too, that email address, like Sarah said, and the phones, they're manned. Even though we're working remotely, I'm here all the time, 8 to 4. So I try to answer the calls and return them. And any feedback or questions you guys have, we welcome it. We've made changes to our website based on things you guys have told us, and things like that. So we welcome any of that. So for sure.
Cool. Yeah, things we try to be.
Thank you. I saw some direct messages. Yes, if you're looking for resources, please reach out. Like, we have so many resources for financial aid. Reach out and I'm happy to send you whatever you're looking for.
And I just got a direct message that someone's internet was down, so she was only able to get on 10 minutes ago. So we will post the presentation deck that we went to, a questions document with answers, and then the recording all on the collegebound.wa.gov website within the next week and a half or so.
And all the links from the presentation, I know you just joined us due to technology and stuff, but all the links from today's presentation is right in that document.
Oh, we have one more question, Sarah. They may have missed our question earlier.
Yep.
It says, I'm trying to add in a missing SSID, but it's grayed out. How do I do this? So as we mentioned before, unfortunately, you guys can't do that part. That's why it's grayed out. So if you email us and just let us know that you have students missing SSIDs, I'll kind of communicate with you and let you know what information we need to get that in there. We get that information. Unfortunately, our system doesn't communicate with the application side of it to put it in the application itself. So if you guys can give me, I'll just ask for more information and we'll get that in there. So just email Collegebound and we'll take care of it for you.
Doesn't communicate yet. We're working on.
Yeah,
trying
oh,
to
that's right.
update
I did say that earlier, but I
Yep.
forgot to add it this time. We are working on it, so they will communicate. Oh, another question. It says, can I only see the class of 2022 and 2023 because things are being updated in November? Oh, I get what, no, I'm sorry. Wait, can I see only class on 2022? I think they're asking about, I'm not sure if they're in the portal, they're saying they can only see 2022 and 2023. I'm not sure what they're asking there.
Yeah, it might be, I would recommend that person, if you're still on, I don't who that was, Melinda, why don't you email us at collegebound@wasac.wa.gov. We can make sure your permissions are set up correctly, that you have the right access to what you need, and take a look at your specific district and school situation.
And just to say too, right now, they may not be showing in the right grade levels, but they'll be showing in the right grad year. So they might still be showing as 9th graders if they're 10th graders, just because we haven't gotten updated enrollment. But if you look at the class of 2024, they'll be 9th graders. Does that make sense? And am I saying that right, Sarah?
Yeah. We, in the early parts of the fall, data tends to kind of work out in trickles and drops as districts upload and update to OSPI, and then it gets to us. That usually gets worked out by the early part of November, and then that's why we expect in the middle part of November to get the first auto enrollment file.
Okay, and then we have one more question. Is the Collegebound Updates webinar at 3:30 different from this one?
We're not hosting a Collegebound Updates webinar at 3:30. I'm not sure who is. It might be maybe a regional officer, or I'm not sure what webinar that is. So sorry, I can't be more helpful. I wish I
don't
could
know
be.
either. Not
Yeah,
my
okay.
region.
Okay. Anna from WACAN is also, not that you know of either, for a webinar.
For tomorrow or today? For today or tomorrow? I'm sorry, what was the date on the webinar? I'm searching through
Okay.
different.
Today, she said.
Oh.
Hmm.
Yep, that one's not us. But I love that people are excited about Collegebound so much. There's another webinar. We're just getting real pumped about it.
How do we order goodies? There you go, talking about that, Christina. How do we order goodies to get our students pumped up about Collegebound?
Yeah, so we do have goodies for you all. The link to order swag and materials should be going live within the next week or two. We're hoping next week. So if everyone can do a collective finger cross, that would be great. And then we'll email everybody via the listserv once that link is live. So just give us a little bit more time.
You can order college knowledge books through the link I just put in the chat. So you can order college knowledge as well as 12th year campaign books and other resources for financial aid and admissions. 2 forms, double the fun.
Any other questions? Keep them coming. We can be here if people have them. I don't want to kick people off, so we're here if you have questions.
I have a question. Christina, are the junior senior workbooks also available through 12th year again, or? Okay,
Yeah,
great.
they're available. You can order them for your students. And I'm having people who order like too few because they're trying to be frugal and kind. And I absolutely love that about our education, because my family's all in education. We're all the same way. So order what you need though. So if you need those workbooks, go ahead and order them. It's taking about two weeks to get them out, and they're going to come with a supplemental page that talks about our new awesome residency law that goes with it too, to help students understand that they may be eligible, even if maybe in the past they were told they weren't.
Yeah, those are awesome workbooks. And when we were talking about the student dropping out, that's a good workbook for 12th graders to know a lot about going into college, some things to do and not to do and things like that.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that's Beth Kelly is an amazing resource producer. We were so lucky to have her.
Right. So someone just asked, how can I get the recorded video of this webinar?
Yeah, so in about a week and a half or so, we'll post the recording, the deck, and a sheet that will have all of the like questions that have been asked and answers to that on the collegebound.wa.gov website. So give us about a week and a half. Thank you for putting the site in there to get it ready and all prepared, but then it'll be posted on that Collegebound website.
We also have linked on our website too, for some of you that are newer this year. We have our frequently asked questions for counselors on our website as well.
Yeah, there's a student version, and then there's also a counselor version that can be kind of walks through a lot of those things we talked about today.
And just so everybody knows, if you request access to our portal, you're automatically subscribed to our listserv. So you'll get those listserv messages that Sarah has been mentioning, things like when events like this are happening, or if we need any help from you with your college-bound students, or when the materials are ready and things like that. Christina, I don't know if you just saw that last question.
I'm pulling the direct link for you in just 1 second. And then I also saw the message from, it was in a question from Robin. Yes, Robin, I'm happy to call you on Monday. I've got you put on my calendar. So I'm happy to give you a call. And I'll get you the direct link to register at the 12th site. So if you go to that form, you can go ahead and fill it out, and that will sign you up to be a 12th site. Thank you. Excited to have you join us.
Any other questions from anybody? All right, I'm gonna do it going once, twice, three. I'm gonna call it. Well, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. Really appreciate everyone who stuck on to get all the last bits of details, and thanks so much for everything you do. Collegebound is a true statewide program in that it can't just be done by one person or a small group of people. So thanks so much for everybody for joining today and your interest in learning about updates, and always feel free to reach out if you have questions. And then we will be posting this, as I said, the recording, the deck, and the question and answers on the website in about a week and a half or so. Cool. Thanks so much, everybody. Have a great rest of the day. Take care.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.